Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this mad, crazy world we're living in. Where's Nancy? Where is this woman? 5 weeks. We're going into the fifth week. How does an 84-year-old woman vanish into a puff of smoke? That's how it feels. Do you think Nancy was beamed up by aliens? It's just as likely as anything else. I just cannot believe. The longer this goes on, the more I cannot believe that an 84-year-old woman can just disappear into a wisp of smoke. And 5 weeks later, nothing, nada, no clues, or not that we know of anyway. Maybe there's lots of clues. You know, Sheriff Nanos keeps telling us the clown sheriff, they're getting closer. Should bloody well think so after 5 weeks. I should bloody well hope so that they are getting closer after 5 weeks or coming into the fifth week. This is just ridiculous. I cannot believe it. It's making me angrier and angrier the more it goes on. And I didn't even know Nancy. But the thing about Nancy is, she could be my mum, she could be your mum, she could be your grandma, she could be your sister. It's like, what has happened to her? Where is she? And all the mystery around it, the ransom notes that haven't been confirmed if they were genuine or they weren't genuine. Nothing's been confirmed by the police department. And even what we're going to talk about today, about a woman who was found in a canal, an elderly woman found in a canal, not that far from where Nancy disappeared. Even though they're saying they don't think it's anything to do with, it's not related, they're not actually saying that even 100%. Why don't they know anything 100%? Either it's Nancy or it isn't. They must know by now. They would know by the clothes they were wearing anyway. They would have a good idea. But nothing conclusive. They're not saying anything conclusive. I'm sick to death of this case, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to Nancy, but I'm starting to lose hope with it. I mean, it seemed like it would be the easiest case to solve when the CCTV was released of the perpetrator, and so here we are, still no idea. All the rumours going round. Is it a case of elder abuse? Is it somebody who was in Nancy's vicinity, someone who helped out at the house, or who gave information to somebody else, maybe even unwittingly? Because I personally think that is a possibility. Somebody who goes regularly to Nancy's house, either the pool cleaner or the cleaner or the carer, or uh, anyone who maybe has to go there on a regular basis, even a manicurist. People have people giving them a foot manicure in their home, don't they? Maybe she didn't like going to a salon. Maybe she had someone go to her home to do her feet, do her hands, nails. Maybe, I don't know, even her hairdresser. Just sudden, one day he's chatting to someone about Nancy, let slip that, oh yeah, I saw she's got a lot of jewellery. Or, she told me that she keeps money around the house, or she's Savannah Guthrie's daughter. You don't know who you're talking to or who's overhearing these conversations. Is that what led to Nancy being targeted? Someone with careless lips? Careless lips cost lives. Or is it someone trying to get at Savannah, trying to get at Nancy, trying to get Tommaso, Annie, Cameron. It could be, everyone always focuses in on Savannah because Savannah Guthrie, one of her daughters, is the famous one who's on telly and interviewed the Epstein survivors, including Virginia Giuffre. So focus is always on her, but it could be anyone who upsets someone. People, there's people out there, you don't even know that you've upset them sometimes. They don't say anything. They just harbour it inside. It's like festering inside them. The thing is, this case, or was it a burglary gone wrong? Total random choice of victim. Has she been whisked off to Mexico? Is she still alive being kept in someone's basement? There's a million theories on this case that there could be. And, people say don't speculate. Everybody's speculating. Even the sheriff has been speculating. Mainstream media, social media, how are you supposed to not speculate when people want to know what happened to Nancy and can't make sense of it? Anyway, before I continue, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please think about it. It is completely free. Don't forget to press notifications so you always get updates on this case or any other case we're covering. Thank you to my members. Thank you to those of you who've bought Ko-fis. It's so much appreciated. Thank you to those who've sent super stickers, emails suggesting cases, or, just all of you that contribute to my channel in any way, shape or form. Thank you. Don't forget to leave your comments on what you think happened to Nancy. That's important, because we don't know. Nobody knows. So, I think it's important that we give our views in a respectful manner, of course. Oh, gosh, I don't know about you, but this case is keeping me up at night. I mean, literally. I'm like listening to the live streamers, any little nugget of news, which there isn't much. The police don't even seem to be searching. They said they're keeping the cadaver dogs on standby. Why on standby? Why aren't they out looking for Nancy? No idea. Everything about this case, the answer is no idea. I don't know. Whatever the question is, the answer is don't know, not sure, could be, might not be. Awful. And in the meantime, this poor woman and her poor family, of course, this poor woman, 84 years old, health issues, lived her life, all that long life, just to be stolen away in the middle of the night by some sort of boogeyman. That's how it feels, like the boogeyman came to call, took Nancy. How did they get her out of the house? Where did the blood come from? Did she walk out of the house? Did they make her walk? What was the vehicle that was involved? They she can't walk that far. Was she taken out in a bag or a suitcase or something like that? Was it one perpetrator? Is it a gang? Is it two perpetrators? Was she targeted? Was it a mistake? You could just go on and on asking questions, couldn't you? Anyway, hi, lovely lurkers. Hi, replay crew. Thank you. Thank you so much for caring about Nancy. We do care. Nancy is a vulnerable person. The vulnerable people in our society, the very young and the very old. And we owe the very old. When someone gets older, they don't become less, just because in a capitalist society, they become less valuable because they're not producing anymore. At 84 years of age, Nancy's produced enough. She brought up 3 children. She's got grandchildren. Her children have made an impact on the world. She's contributed and she deserved to be looked after in her final years, not plucked from her bed by, some bogeyman. Disgusting it is, disgusting. And if you are watching this, who knows, maybe even the person who did it is watching it. I'm sure they're watching all the streams and things like that, even maybe my little channel. What are you thinking of? Give her back. Whether she's alive or dead, give her back. This could be your mum, for God's sake. What sort of karma are you inviting on yourself? I'm so angry about how this woman's been treated. But, whatever happens, even if she's found safe and well physically, mentally, can you imagine the trauma she's been through? Anyway, hi, David. So, for those of you brave to come into the chat, hi, David. Hi, Lily. Hope you're all well. Hi, Daniel. Yeah, that's right, David. Very rare that elderly people, I mean, it does happen. So, we had that case not long ago in Australia where that elderly man was kidnapped by mistake, tortured. So, even when those toe rags realised they'd kidnapped the wrong person, they still tortured him. I haven't even been able to do a follow-up on that because reading the details of what happened to that elderly man who apparently was kidnapped by mistake in some sort of gang warfare, I just can't even talk about it because, that man was elderly like Nancy, if not similar age, if not the same age, and was tortured even though he was the wrong person. I mean, it's not legitimate to have tortured him if he was the right person, but he was the wrong person. And even after they realised, they still tortured him and murdered him. And that old man, can't defend himself. Disgusting people. Thank God there's not many people like that in the world. But do you know what? These ones that are there in this world, they're young lads. They've been arrested. Literally young lads. Early 20s sort of type age. Disgusting. So I hope that kind of thing hasn't happened to Nancy. How can someone be so dismissive of somebody else, whoever it is? I just, even if you hate someone because of something they've done to you, how could you torture them? I don't know. People's minds go to very dark places, don't they? There is definitely evil in this world. There is evil. There's more good than evil. But unfortunately, the evil seems to prevail sometimes, doesn't it? Anyway, what we're going to look at is, so there was a body found at a canal in, oh God, what's that place called? Phoenix. And there was a lot of, chatter. Was this anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie case? If Nancy is not alive anymore, she still hasn't vaporized into thin air. Her body is somewhere. And I know it's difficult to find bodies, especially, they seem to have quite a long time to hide her, maybe. But I just still can't believe they haven't identified a vehicle, or not that we've heard of. Maybe they have. Maybe they are, like Sheriff Nanos said, closing in. He says, we're getting closer, we're getting closer. But are they though? And I think Sheriff Nanos is definitely out of the loop at the moment with the FBI, which is a good thing, personally, in my opinion. Because let's have a look at this body that's been found. Well, not look at the body, but, I want to look at the article about the body that's been found. Let me just. So Sheriff Nanos has done his usual word salad thing of, you'll see, sort of talking about it, saying he doesn't think it's related but he doesn't say it's definitely not related. Why can he not give a conclusive answer to anything? This body is either is Nancy or isn't. It's a yes or no answer. And they would know by now because of the clothes, if nothing else, even if the body was, it's probably maybe decomposed, I don't know, and they have to do the DNA test. But quite often, when the police find bodies, even though they haven't declared officially that it's the body, they know they'll announce that they've found a body and they've got reason to believe, but it has to be officially confirmed. Why doesn't he say that? Why doesn't he say that? He doesn't think it's related, but they're waiting for DNA tests to come back to be 100% certain. You can't, it just doesn't say this sheriff. Oh my God, the poor Guthrie family having to put up with this sheriff um, to learn about their loved one. Anyway, let's have a look at the article. What a useless sheriff he is. Sooner he retires, the better, in my opinion. So let's have a look. So Nancy Guthrie cops break silence as a woman's body is found in a Phoenix canal. Hang on, it's not sharing. Let me just share it. Where is it? Come on. Should be able to see it in a minute. There you go. You can see the article. So the Pima County Sheriff's Office has issued a statement following reports that the body of an unidentified woman was discovered in a canal in Phoenix over the weekend. Now, Phoenix is about 2 hours away from where Nancy went missing, and I know that because one of my chatters is from Phoenix, and that's what they said. And then they have this picture of Nancy. It was different from the other pictures of her. Is that actually her, even? Anyway, it's from her Instagram or from Instagram, apparently, that picture. So, police investigating the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie have shared an update after the body of a woman was found in a canal. A woman was found dead in a canal in Phoenix, Arizona on Saturday, March the 7th. Phoenix police have confirmed they're investigating the death after officers were dispatched to the area of 27th Place and Grand Canal Trail at approximately 7:40 a.m. on Saturday. So a police statement revealed details on the call indicated that an adult female was on the nearby canal bank and was unresponsive. When officers arrived, they located the woman, who was ultimately pronounced deceased on scene. And this apparently comes after a criminal attorney revealed the six huge red flags in Nancy's case that don't add up. We might have a look at those actually in a minute. Um, Let me just turn the sound down on it. There you go. We'll look at those six huge red flags. How I feel about this case, there's nothing that automatically didn't mute it. Can you hear me now? Let me know you can hear me. I think you can hear me now. I think you can. So yeah, let's just have a look at this video again. So the other day, the family, or most of the family, so Cameron wasn't there, the brother. I'm not sure why he wasn't there. Maybe he's not in the. Oh, hi, Lily. You can hear me okay now. Thank you. So, yeah, the family went out, didn't they, Savannah, early in the morning? Went out there to look at the tributes. Let's just have a look at it again. Now, Annie is very, very upset, extremely upset. Um, and I would imagine, now I don't know for sure, I'm just making a surmising. Do you think Annie was closer to Nancy because they lived so close by? Of course, Savannah's living in New York City. She probably didn't see her mum in person as often as Annie did because Annie and Tommaso only live up the road. But you could tell as they walked down, Annie got very, very upset, didn't she? No, she's audibly crying. So this was an absolute visible show of unity by the family. As I say, Tommaso has had all this shade thrown at him. I don't believe it's anything to do with Tommaso. I having said that, I've got no idea what it is to do with, so nothing would surprise me in a way. Um, but yeah, this is like a show of unity, isn't it? But Cameron's not there, so he must. Who knows why not? And then, of course, Savannah now apparently has returned to New York, but because she was there at the NBC studios, and she's supposed to be returning to work, for which she's received a lot of criticism. Do you know what? All I would say to anyone is, unless you've walked in their shoes, you have no idea how you would react, what you would do, would you go back to work or not? I think I would go back to work now because I would be just going absolutely mental, wondering what had happened to Nancy and to my mum. And, after all these weeks had passed, I wouldn't have gone, in the first week or even the first 3 weeks. But once 4 weeks go by, 5 weeks, how long can someone like Savannah, who has a job and has children, young children, how long can she? There comes a point in time where you just go mad if you didn't return to some sort of normality. Um, they just for maybe you've not, but hopefully you've not been through anything like this, but we've all been through some sort of traumas in our life. Do you remember how it feels when things happen that you had no control over? It is like a surreal, it's like you're living in a dream, isn't it? I remember that from various things that have happened through my long life. You just like wake up in the morning and it's like, was that all a dream? It can't be real. That can't really have happened. That, and then you realize, hey, then you realize it's not a dream. There it is real. There it has happened. And it's a horrible, horrible, surreal feeling. That's what they'll be going through all the time. You know, whether it's Sorry, I'm just laughing at the dog. The dog is such a madam. She's like a prima donna because I'm so she's gone and knocked her food over now, just for the sake of it. It's like a hooligan. Yeah, they'll be going through this. Oh my God, we just can't believe what's happening. Just awful. So they walked along, they looked at the flowers, they read some of the cards, they left a card. It was a very strange card, actually. But again, you think, oh, very maybe the children made it or the grandchildren, or, I just don't know. You can't, you can't put yourself in other people's shoes, really, unless you've actually been there. Everyone deals with things in a different way. And, you know, this case, I know there's a lot of I'm getting quite a few emails about it's keeping a lot of you up at night. Every time if I wake up in the night, I have a look, see if there's any news. It's just, it's obsessing a lot of us, and it's so frustrating for us that nothing, no news seems to be coming out. How do these people feel? They've got to live through it, and not only that, all the hate online, because they do have a lot of sympathy from people, but they have a lot of hate as well. Everything they do is scrutinised. You know, coming there to look at that tribute's been scrutinised. The card that Annie left was scrutinised. But then if they wouldn't have come, that'd be scrutinised. Savannah going back to work has been scrutinised. Everybody cashing in their opinion on what they think is right or wrong to how this family is dealing with the loss of their mother, and the possible permanent loss of their mother. Well, the probable permanent loss of their mother, isn't it? That it's more likely that they're not going to see their mum again than that they are going to see her again, I'm afraid. It's much more likely. Right, I'm going to go back to this one because my phone's beeping at me. Let's have a look. Anyway, what was that article from the. Anyway, there was something it was leading to. I'm going to come off that now. So, what do you think? At the end of the day, please let me know what you think. David's saying you have to let the authorities take over. You can't do anything. That's right. The sad reality is, might be your loved one, but you can't do anything. How are they coping? You just, she's gone missing. The only thing that we do know for certain, though even that's not for certain, I don't think, though I think it is certain that this is the person who had something to do with it, or one of the people, or is this even the same person on both photo, or is it two different people? We don't know. I think that's one person personally, but people are saying that it's like these photos were taken on different days, maybe. But I think it is would you agree with me there? Let me know. Do you think this is the same person but on different nights? There's so much that's similar. I do think it's the same person, even though it may be on different days. But don't forget, we don't even know, there's no time stamp, no date stamp. I don't think even the timeline that's been released by the police is 100%. You can rely on 100%. Personally, I don't think you can. Because they keep saying no date stamp, no time stamp. So you could argue, how do you even know that was the same night? You know, how do they even know that if it's got no date stamp and no time stamp? This is another of the conflicting things that they say. You know, if they could say, right, this photo was definitely from the 11th of February, this one was definitely from the night Nancy disappeared. But they actually haven't said that, have they? So it's an absolute mystery. Absolute mystery, isn't it? So, who is this person? How do we not know who this person is yet? Sheriff Nanos holding his hands up, you know, he's give us no information. Is the FBI dealing mainly with it now, and is he out of the loop? Because I think some of the things he's said lately suggest to me, like that statement from Pima County Sheriff's Office about the body on the canal. We have had no confirmation. You know, they're not actually saying no, that body on the canal in Phoenix is definitely not Nancy. They're saying, oh, we've got no reason to believe, or we've received no communication. Nothing's 100% certain in this case. So here we go. We go into another week. Now, could be today brings the breakthrough. So don't forget, we've had 2 detainments so far. We've had the Carlos, the dash delivery driver. He was detained, wasn't he? Really quite early on in the investigation. He was detained and released. Detained in the police van, not taken to the police station. We don't know why he was detained. You know, why he was released and presumably cleared. We don't know. Then the SWAT teams went out again, didn't they? And they detained another guy on that Mad Friday, a couple of Fridays ago. They detained Luke Daly, who we've seen his interview, but he was detained. His house was searched. His mother was detained and questioned. Both of them were just detained, not arrested, not charged with anything, released. They themselves say they have no idea why they were detained. Was it just a tip off from someone? Or did the police have some reason to think that Luke might be involved? Was Luke involved? I don't think people have gone past Luke. You know, I think Luke is still in people's eyes as a possible suspect. He lives nearby. His mum did know of Nancy Guthrie, but why they would have any reason to kidnap her, I don't know. What else is the reason? Yeah, he sold his Range Rover after. Oh, he bought a new car just afterwards. In his interview that we watched with Brianna, he looked like he had too many clothes on, didn't he? He was clean shaven. He'd shaven his moustache and beard off. That's really it, though, isn't it? You can't arrest someone on those grounds. Oh, he looked uncomfortable, and why did he have so many clothes on? You know, where's the evidence? Again, no evidence against anyone, it seems. And here we are coming into the 5th week. Well, will today bring a breakthrough? Could be any day. I mean, at the end of the day, even as we're speaking now, the SWAT team could be on their way to arrest someone. Probably not, because there's enough streamers and people with scanners out there that as soon as that SWAT team is activated to go and apprehend this person, if it ever is, everyone will know, you know, won't they? It's like as soon as the SWAT team gets sent out, whether it's related to Nancy or not, It's all over the social media, isn't it? So that's where we are. I've got a headache. I've had a illness case start. I don't know about not sleeping really well because every family it's on well news about Nancy and hoping for news. So that's all we can do. We can only pray breakthrough comes sooner rather than later this week. Hope that Nancy is okay, but it just every day the hope diminishes even that little bit more, doesn't it? That she could be okay. But whatever that she's found and brought home to her family, that is so important. And we get some answers. Justice. Who took her? Why did they take her? And where is she now? So these are the questions that we're still asking. But listen, thank you for watching. Please press like, please press subscribe. Thank you to everyone for caring about Nancy, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Thank you.